Hey, welcome back. It's Jason Walter here. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing a hot topic, and that is how has home prices been affected by this pandemic? And there's a lot to discuss here, so let's go ahead and jump right into the video. A ton has changed over the last 2 months since I posted my #1 video on YouTube, and in that video I discussed why home prices will not be going down during this pandemic. If you missed that video, I'll leave a link in the description below. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the unemployment rate is 11% in the United States as of the end of June 2020. July numbers will be released here in a few days, and it's going to be really interesting to see if the unemployment rate is going to increase due to the spike of COVID-19 cases, and also for some of the businesses who have been forced to shut down once again. In stock market news, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is down about 6% year to date, and this is a huge improvement from the end of March when the market plunged about 35%. However, both the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 are up year to date. So for example, the NASDAQ is up almost 30% year to date. Also during this pandemic, trillions of dollars of stimulus funds were approved by the U.S. government, and thousands of homeowners took advantage of the mortgage loan forbearance program thanks to the CARES Act. It's been reported that 7.67% of mortgages are in forbearance right now, and that number has been slowly declining over the past 7 weeks in a row. Additionally, talks are currently underway in Congress regarding what the next stimulus package will look like, but Republicans and Democrats cannot agree. Shocker. It appears another round of stimulus checks will be approved for some Americans. However, they can't agree on terms regarding the federal unemployment benefits, state and local funding, as well as liability protections for employers. Meanwhile, the federal boost of $600 per week in unemployment benefit claims expired the end of July. So those who are still unemployed right now are going to have to rely on state benefits unless they extend this federal boost to unemployment. In addition, for homeowners who have a federally backed mortgage, such as Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, VA, or USDA, there's a foreclosure moratorium until at least August 31st, 2020. The key word is at least. We'll have to see if that gets extended. And by the way, under federal law, foreclosure proceedings cannot start until the homeowner is at least 120 days late on their mortgage payment. Also, if you're not sure whether you have a federally backed mortgage or not and you want to find out, I'll leave a link in the description below. With all the uncertainties in our economy right now, the high unemployment rate and the spike of COVID-19 cases, you would think that the real estate market is imploding right now. Think again and let's discuss. But before that, this video took hours to make, and this is definitely not my full-time job. So if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, I greatly would appreciate that, and that helps support this channel. Okay, thank you so much for doing that. So let's now go over what home prices have been doing during this pandemic. So according to the National Association of Realtors, the median home price in the United States increased 3.5% from June 2019 to June 2020. And prices rose in every region that NAR reports on. In addition, June's national price increase marks 100 straight months of year-over-year gains. For example, in Sacramento County, which is where I live, the median home price increased 6.4% from June 2019 to June 2020. In addition, the median home price increased a whopping 5.1% from May to June this year. This is pretty remarkable given that we're right in the middle of a pandemic and there's a lot of uncertainties in our economy right now. And by the way, these are June numbers. If you're interested in learning what July numbers look like, just leave me a comment below and I can make a separate video about that in a few weeks when July numbers are posted. In addition, the number of home sales in the United States skyrocketed by 21% in June compared with the prior month. This was a record increase after the U.S. experienced 3 straight months of sales declines. Sales overall, however, dipped year over year, and they are down 11.3% from a year ago. We're seeing a similar trend in Sacramento County, for example. So sales volume, which is the number of houses sold, has surged 45.9% from May to June this year, but we're still down 1.4% in the number of houses that have sold when compared to 1 year ago. So why is the real estate market booming right now, and why are home prices increasing and not decreasing? After all, during the Great Recession, while the economy tanked, so did the real estate market. Let's discuss why we're not seeing declining home prices in most markets across the United States. The main contributing factor to home prices not declining is the lack of housing inventory, and this means the number of houses available for sale. So according to NAR, or the National Association of Realtors, total housing inventory in the United States is down 18.2% from 1 year ago. With fewer options for home buyers right now, that increases the demand for the houses that are currently available for sale. This trend is also what we're seeing in Sacramento County. So there are 36.7% less houses available for sale compared to 1 year ago. Because there's less houses available for sale right now compared to a year ago, home buyers right now are competing against each other for the houses that are listed for sale. This causes support for home prices right now because home buyers are competing against each other for the limited amount of houses available for sale. Let me just share an example with you. So let's just say there's a neighborhood that a lot of people want to move into, but let's just say that there's only one house available for sale. So all the buyers who are interested in that neighborhood are going to ultimately drive up the price of that house because there's only one house available. In contrast, if there is 500 houses available for sale in that same neighborhood, then the home sellers are going to be competing against each other because the home buyers have a lot of options, and that's ultimately going to be driving prices down. What we're seeing right now is that there's a high buyer demand for houses right now due to limited inventory, but also it's being fueled by record low interest rates. So right now you can get a 30-year fixed mortgage for 2.99%. This is crazy low. So let me just give you some context regarding this. So take a look at mortgage rates since 1971. In the early 80s, they were around 18% for a fixed mortgage and around 6% in 2008 during our Great Recession. Because interest rates are so low right now, I'm actually thinking about refinancing myself, and I can do that for as low as 2.75% for a 30-year fixed mortgage. In order to help explain what our real estate market has been doing over the past few months, let me briefly describe what happened early on during this pandemic. A lot of home sellers took their houses off the market because they didn't want strangers walking throughout their house during this pandemic. And also there was about a month period where agents weren't even allowed to show houses to their clients, at least in California. But early on during this pandemic, home buyers also dropped off as well because we had these stay-at-home orders and they weren't allowed to meet with their real estate agents to look at houses. Therefore, there was a drop-off in the number of home sellers as well as home buyers early on during this pandemic. In April, for example, traffic to websites like Zillow and Redfin dropped off, and so did mortgage applications. Pending sales decreased as well, which caused fewer home sales. A good way to think about a real estate market early on during this pandemic is that it was on pause. Many buyers and sellers left the market, and home sales dropped in response. However, that was short-lived, and let me explain that here in just a little bit. In contrast, let's compare our real estate market today to the Great Recession. So here's a graph showing the number of listings in light green over the last 14 years in 9 major Northern California counties. And there was a whopping 25,000 homes or more for sale for most of 2008 to 2009. And over 30,000 houses for parts of 2007. Now there's only about 5,000 houses available for sale. That is 5 or 6 times less. Therefore, in 2007 and 2008, there was far more home sellers than there were home buyers. And that's what you call a buyer's market because there's so many options for buyers out there that ultimately drove prices down. When the financial collapse happened, many people lost their jobs and millions of foreclosures hit the market, which further increased inventory. This excess of supply with diminished demand and during the Great Recession caused home prices to plummet. If you haven't seen my video about 2008 versus now, I'll leave a link in the description below for that video. In my opinion, we will not see home prices plummet like we did during the Great Recession for 4 main reasons. Number 1, and that is housing inventory was already historically low before this pandemic hit. Again, in Northern California right now, we have about 5,000 houses available for sale. You compare that to 2006, and we had over 25,000 houses available for sale. Number 2, and that is interest rates are currently at record lows of around 3%. In contrast, they were rising from 2005 to 2007. As you can see, they increased from about 5.5% to about 6.75% during that time period. Rates have decreased significantly ever since then, especially from November 2018 when interest rates were around 5%. A third reason why I believe that home prices will not plummet like we saw in 2008 to 2010 is the lack of bad loans that we have right now, but were so prevalent during the Great Recession. And let me briefly explain. During the Great Recession, you could get a mortgage loan simply by just stating your income. This was called a stated income loan. So the lender would ask you, how much money do you make per year? And you could say $100,000. But your lender would not ask for any supporting documentation to support your claim that you made $100,000. It was called a stated income loan. To make matters worse, a lot of these loans were adjustable interest-only loans. So when rates rose, so did their mortgage payments. And then when you had home values decrease, then we had a lot of foreclosures. My fourth reason why I believe that home prices will not be plummeting during this pandemic is that the government has taken a lot of action to curb the threat of a meltdown of our economy. For example, they passed the CARES Act a few months ago, which allowed people who have been experiencing a financial hardship due to COVID-19 to enter into a mortgage loan forbearance. The CARES Act also provided a foreclosure and eviction moratorium and gave small business owners, such as publicly traded companies like Ruth Chris Steakhouse and Shake Shack, the ability to get free or cheap money with the passing of the Paycheck Protection Program, or the PPP, and the Emergency Injury Disaster Loan, or the EIDL. Sorry, I'm still triggered by the fact that publicly traded companies receive funds for this program. However, I want to be realistic here, and I do not want to paint a rosy picture. So the high unemployment rate, the spike of COVID-19 cases and deaths, the lack of recent action from our government to pass the next stimulus package is a real concern. There are 4 key questions I think that we should consider and also to follow in the months to come. And number 1 is that what will the next stimulus package look like and when will it be passed? Will a federal boost to unemployment benefit claims be a part of that new stimulus package, or will it go away entirely? Another key question will be, will housing inventory increase to levels beyond what home buyers can absorb? Right now, that's currently not happening, not even close in most areas of the United States, especially Sacramento. For example, in Sacramento, we're seeing a very competitive real estate market right now due to the lack of inventory, but we're seeing a lot of home buyers out there because a lot of people are looking to move to Sacramento, and that's being fueled by record low interest rates. A third key question will be, will the moratorium on evictions and foreclosures be extended again before it expires on August 31st? Time will tell. And if it doesn't get extended, will that cause foreclosures to increase? Another key question will be, will the spike of COVID-19 cases hamper our economy again and potentially our real estate market? So I'd love to know your thoughts on this. What do you think will happen to our real estate market? Comment below. Also, don't forget, if you want 2 free stocks, click on the link below, because for a limited time, Webull is giving away 2 free stocks, with one of those being valued up to $1,400 when you deposit at least $100 on their platform within 30 days of signing up. So if you want 2 free stocks, click on the link below and let me know which free stocks you receive. Please subscribe to the channel. I'll keep you updated with new developments. Also, hit the like button. That helps support this channel, and I greatly would appreciate that. Also, you can follow me on Instagram. I'm Sacramento Realtor. Hope you have an awesome day and look forward to seeing you on the next video.